This is Scott Condit for The Armory Life. When you head off grid, having reliable communication changes everything. Over the past several months, I've been testing the Starlink Mini in some truly remote terrain and putting together a system of accessories that expands what this little unit can do. In this video, I want to give you a quick field overview of the gear I've been using, how it performs, and what it looks like in real conditions. Now, if you want the deeper dive with full specs, technical insights, and the complete breakdown of each product featured in this video, all of that is covered in my companion article for The Armory Life. Think of this video as the hands-on overview and the article as the full technical deep dive. The Starlink Mini itself has been a game changer. It's compact, rugged, and delivers real high-speed internet in places where nothing else works. Let's take a look at the gear that takes it even further. Once you head into remote terrain, cell service is usually the first thing to disappear. The Starlink Mini solves that. It packs into a day bag, sets up fast, and delivers consistent, high-speed connectivity even in places where you'd expect nothing. Recently, I've taken it on hunts, overlanding trips, film shoots, and long treks through the desert. It has quickly become one of my essential pieces of kit for backcountry communications and safety. Power is the biggest challenge with off-grid electronics, and that's where the StarBat Mini has proven itself. It's a rugged, weatherproof power system built specifically for the Starlink Mini, and it gives you up to 24 hours of runtime. The Starlink Mini locks into the case, stays protected, and transmits straight through the lid. The backlit display shows battery percentage, voltage, and amperage, and the extra USB and USB-C ports turn it into a complete camp power hub. On a recent hunt near the Arizona-New Mexico border, the StarBat kept me and my hunting party online the entire time. We checked in with family, downloaded maps, and kept our GPS units and phones charged. I even took this to an archery expo in Flagstaff, Arizona, and found there was no cell signal. It kept communications up for us, but I also had several nearby vendors ask if they could borrow our signal so they could connect their credit card chargers and reach family back home. One accessory that really completes this power setup is the StarBat Solar. This is a compact folding 160-watt monocrystalline panel that is built to recharge the StarBat when you are fully off-grid. It's rugged, weather-resistant, and packs down small enough to carry or secure to a vehicle without taking up much space. What makes it valuable is that it turns the StarBat into a true self-contained power system. You are no longer tied to a wall outlet or forced to ration power over long trips.
So StarBat was cool enough to send out their full StarBat unit, which has been extremely impressive in the field testing I've done on hunts out in the wilderness. They also sent one of the really cool accessories, which is their fold-out solar panel charging accessory. So we're going to connect this. We're going to lay it out in the truck bed here, connect it using the power cord adapter, going into the power in on the front of this guy, and see what kind of a charge we get. All right, so pretty sweet. The solar panel's been running for maybe 5 minutes, and I already noticed that the battery charge went from 98.6 and now it's at 99.1 and climbing. And that's just with that solar panel doing its thing. You expend no energy to recharge it. You just lay it out there. Again, a great base camp solution. Very, very cool accessory for the StarBat.
During my field testing, the panel raised the StarBat's charge by about 2.5% to 3% in under just 10 minutes of good sunlight. That level of input means you can keep the unit topped off throughout the day. It keeps the entire system running independently in terrain where traditional power sources just don't exist. After extended use and testing, the StarBat has become a unique piece of gear that I trust completely to keep my Starlink Mini up and running. Now for mobile use, where you're moving fast and weight matters, the Forge Concept Starlink Mini bag is the best solution I've used. It protects the Starlink Mini and lets it operate directly from inside the bag, whether you have the Starlink Mini stand deployed or stowed. It's extremely well built, lightweight, and modular thanks to its multi-mount panel.
All right, so now let's take a look at the very compact grab-and-go Starlink Mini kit that I've kind of put together with some rad brands who sent out gear. So we got Forge Concepts, and they sent the Starlink Mini bag, and this thing contains everything, along with giving you a very nice backer here, this hard plastic backer with MOLLE cuts, so you can lash things to it. You can do zip ties, or you can even throw Velcro on the back of this panel and put whatever pouches you think you might need. Now what I've done, in one pouch we've got our carbon fiber micro tripod, and this is like a little desktop tripod, but it's pretty robust. It's made with metal carbon fiber components and a ball head that stays really solid, which is important to manage even though it's lightweight, the weight of the Starlink Mini, because you want to get that orientation and tilt and axis just right on it. So we got that in there. And then in this pouch, little spud pouch, we've got a pretty robust battery bank from Anker, and I like this one a lot. It's got multi-port, 2 USB-Cs, standard USB-A, and a digital readout that tells you how much battery life you have left. I've tested this a little bit with the Starlink Mini, quite a bit actually over the last week, and it'll give me about 4 solid reliable hours of power. So again, grab and go. You're going to be using the Starlink Mini in limited communications fashion if it's truly a off-grid emergency comms device. So, you know, to fire it up, communicate back home with friends, family, whoever you need to, and then power it back down. This thing can ostensibly last you much longer out on longer multi-day field trips, but as always, conserve your power and utilize it accordingly. Now, if you're a little more run and gun, what you can do is keep this Starlink Mini in the bag. And a cool thing about Forge Concepts is they have a little laser cut hole here that you can run your cabling through, and that cable can come straight out from the front right into the battery. Now, if you're off and you have a little bit more time, you're off grid, and you want to run it like so, you certainly can. And you connect your cabling straight to your battery power and just set your bag off to the side. Options.
One thing people often overlook is how visible the bare Starlink Mini is in natural terrain. A bright white rectangle stands out immediately. Covert Innovations has addressed that issue with their various camouflage wraps, available in both Cordura and vinyl. These wraps remove the white signature and blend the unit into the natural terrain. I also added the Covert Innovations Link Scrim Mini to break up the outline of the dish even further and reduce its visual and near-infrared signature. I tested the full setup with drone footage, and the difference was substantial, especially from the air. The dish went from a bright, easy-to-spot object to something that blended far more naturally into the desert landscape. Now, to build out a full hide for my Starlink Mini, I turned to the Relv Eclipse panel. It's engineered for concealment across visual, thermal, and night vision environments.
This is the Relv camouflage. This is the Eclipse thermal, IR, and NV, and just standard analog camo panel that they provide, and it's laser cut with leaf patterns, so it blends in naturally in environments. You can also use those leaf cuts and holes to lash it or secure it in place to your environment. And another really cool factor about this guy is that you can utilize your optics through it. So if you're in a blind and you are utilizing this, you can actually sight through this with your optics without it obscuring your vision. They've really put a lot of time, care, and insight from the field, from those who are operating in environments today where they're concerned about needing camouflage that not only organically or serves as analog camo, but can mitigate the NV, thermal, and IR detection from ground forces and aerial surveillance. So they came up with the Eclipse camo. It's really cool stuff. It's super lightweight. One thing I like about it is it's really quiet. It's designed to be super quiet. And that's a factor I think that is super neat. So if you're setting this up to get into a blind or to utilize it as camo in the field, you don't want it rustling and crinkling and so forth. Cool thing about the Relv Eclipse panel as well is it comes in 2 palettes. So you have one side, and then if you switch it, you got a little more of that greenery here. For us in the desert, I thought this would be really nice. And it's also available with these veg strips. So you can use these to weave them throughout to help break up the pattern of the Eclipse panel a little bit more. These could also potentially, I think, be used as lashing through those laser cut holes to kind of get it draped up properly and secured in place on whatever structure or foliage you have in your operating environment. So that's super handy. But today what we're gonna do is we're gonna utilize this guy in 2 fashions. We're gonna drape it here using some of the surrounding scrub brush. We're gonna try and see what it looks like from the air with the drone. And then we're gonna pop up a thermal camera and see what we can see in thermal and IR with and without the Relv Eclipse panel. So it should be pretty interesting. I'm excited to check it out. Another aspect of Relv's camo, and something to keep in mind when you're employing this tech in the field, is heat transfer, right? You don't want to drape this directly over your body or over a heat source, for example, the Starlink Mini in this case, because heat, no matter what, is going to transfer through materials, albeit slower with the RELV camo than most other conventional materials. Heat is still going to do its thing. It's still going to find a way to transfer through that and produce a signature on a thermal camera, for example. To make the Eclipse panel perform even more optimally, I added one more accessory from RELV, the Starlink Mini cage. Now the Starlink Mini produces a lot of heat, and you don't want that heat transferring straight through your camouflage. This compact cage creates a lightweight frame that keeps the panel suspended off the dish so the fabric can disperse heat naturally. It weighs almost nothing, packs small, assembles quickly in low light, and didn't interfere with connectivity at all during my field testing. All right, so for today's purposes, I threw the RELV up rather quickly, right? And you could take a ton more time, and you should, to get your blind set up as optimally as possible. Now, the philosophy behind RELV is blend, not block. Two parts to that. Visual signature, you want it to blend into the topography and take more time, making sure there's no hard edges and the contours all wrap and fold naturally with the terrain. Now, in terms of the heat that's going to come off of a Starlink and it being detected by thermal, you want it off the Starlink. So we have our Starlink Mini back here, and it's off of the RELV, and we're going to fire it up. We're let it get a little toasty because they do run hot after a little while, and they're certainly going to be picked up by thermal. We're going to do some testing with a thermal cam from varying distances to see it in the same exact position with the RELV in front of it and with it off. Again, if you're in the field and you're really truly concerned about a thermal signature, you're going to take your time and employ some field craft to make sure that the RELV is oriented in exactly the right way so that every contour and fold and all of the veg strips on there match the terrain as closely as possible. But for today's purposes, we're doing a quick first look, and we're going to really take a look at what this does to mitigate the heat signature of the Starlink Mini.
Once I added veg pack strips and natural debris to the hide, it blended extremely well from both ground level and the air.
All right, so we're using the ShineX AIM 101 right now, and we're just kind of scouting the terrain. Let's go into a white hot mode. So there's our RELV camo right there. Hold this image because we're going to peel that off from this same vantage point and see what the Starlink looks like without that coverage. One cool thing about the RELV camo as well is its rip strength is engineered for pretty rugged use, but it's also engineered at a tensile strength or a rip strength, where if you have to rapidly egress and get out of a situation, it's made so you can tear it. It just takes a good degree of force, but it's engineered within a specific range so you can rip it away and get out of your blind if you need to. But it's also extremely robust. We have these sticker, bushes out here, which I've tactfully chosen to put my blind in. And it hasn't torn any of the material, which is really cool. So it's at that sweet spot. If you need to tear it, you can, but it's engineered to withstand the elements. All right, so we're scouting for the Starlink Mini again. And there it is, immediately. We got a hot spot right there, where that RELV camo was. Super toasty. Right now we're at about 45 yards. I was right, we're about 50 out. Got the rangefinder on the ShineX here, and you can see right there with that red outline on the white hotspot, that's the Starlink Mini. Now from the air, I imagine that would be even more visible. It's a pretty toasty day out here too, that's important to note. So everything's kind of running hot, but that's bright white, just chilling.
The thermal testing was especially telling. The Starlink Mini shows up as a clear hotspot when it's bare, but behind the Eclipse panel, with the material kept off the dish, that signature was decreased dramatically. That wraps a look at some of the latest innovative gear options designed to expand and enhance the off-grid communication capabilities of your Starlink Mini. I hope this overview has been useful and informative as you refine and strengthen your remote communications setup. I encourage you to check out the full article on the Armory Life for a deeper dive. This has been Scott Condit for the Armory Life. Stay safe out there, shoot straight, and I'll see you on the next one.